She's a conceptual artist from Berlin, combining in her work the minimalism of nature with state-of-the-art technology, often questioning the relation of human beings with the natural environment. My name is Błażej Oczkowski, and my guest today is Theresa Schubert. Hello, Theresa.
Hello.
I believe that individuality is the key feature of an artist. So I would like to start by asking you about your individual definition of conceptual art.
Historically speaking, conceptual art was about the dematerialization of the artwork, meaning that the idea and the process became much more important than a final product at the end. So for me, this idea is also very relevant because working with technology and biology, the process is very, very time consuming and often very complex, so that they are taking over a large part of the actual artwork. The actual creation process becomes very, very important. And also, for me, it's to be seen that it's more about creating context and a relation, maybe, to other topics as well, and about including the viewer or the visitor of the artwork also in a special way, creating an experience, so something that may be like a somatic experience, some sensorial experience that the artwork creates as an atmosphere.
You always start from the roots, literally, because you start from the organic matter and living organism. What was the inspiration for you to become interested in that particular thing?
I studied media art at the Bauhaus University in Weimar. So after mainly dealing with computers and video or sound as a material, I was looking for something more haptic, something that I could actually touch again. And because I was always very interested in nature and plants, that's how I started to get involved in biology. Especially, I work a lot with fungi because I have a very strong connection to the forest as well since childhood. So
something very personal, as I believe.
Yes, I do always like to go into the forest, and I like to look at the forest also as a own organism, as a big ecosphere, but also looking at individual things in the forest, like the fungi, the mycelium network, but also some other small organisms, bacteria, moss or lichen, something like that, that I also work with in my art.
But it seems that you went back to the roots, to the organic matter, just to discover that we as humans are quite disconnected from our natural environment. What happened?
I think it's a complex situation. You cannot really pinpoint it to just one thing. Some of it has to do with technology and, in general, portable equipments that are everywhere. It has to do with people preferring living in large cities than on the countryside because it's more comfortable in many ways. And it also has to do with the way how we as humans and as a society treat nature. For example, it is very hard to actually find a forest in this romantic image, like a wild forest. There's very, very few places in Europe that actually have something untouched left. So this image of the forest is actually kind of a wish maybe that we still have, but is very, very hard to find, and many people don't realize that that's the case.
Do you think that your art somehow can actually help to bring back the old idea of nature, forest, everything that was so beautiful, so great, so basic?
Well, I'm not somebody who likes to say that the past was better than the present or the future. But I like to create with my art also opportunities or experiences for people to reconnect, or just to switch maybe their standard viewpoint as a human and to welcome other perspectives by maybe looking through the eye of an animal or a plant, how they might perceive the environment. So this kind of switch. In order to do this, for example, sometimes I also do walks and performative workshops in the forest and in parks. So I invite people to come along so that they can follow in a very direct material engagement this process of reconnecting. Yeah.
How do you like working at PSNC in Poznań? Is it inspiring?
Yeah, it's super great to be here. I'm very happy to be here because now I'm just developing something for the 8K environment, but the production is just computer-based. So now I developed some new concept for a video, which a part of it, for example, will use the LiDAR scanner, so 3D scanning of some parts here, and I'm trying to very directly reference your space, the supercomputing center. So one part will be a scan of your server room where the actual supercomputer is standing, because I'm very much interested in this image of a supercomputer and let's say as a metaphor as well. And
do you see any connection between a forest with the trees and supercomputers, which probably visually are not very attractive, but they have some connections? Am I going in the right direction with that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm working on. So for me, I mentioned on the beginning that the forest is a superorganism, so there is actually also the metaphor to see the whole world as a computer, if you go back to like Turing or someone. And I'm trying to juxtapose the forest, in a sense, as a supercomputer. If you want to see the roots, let's say, as the cables, the fungi creating some kind of internet.
It sounds like the vision of James Cameron presented in Avatar.
Without
blue people, yes, without blue people. But the rest is fine, is still there.
Yeah, maybe, but also I'm very interested in this 3D scanning technology, because you create point clouds.
Yes.
And it's not a standard visual copy of the reality. It's actually something else. And this is for me very interesting to look, let's say, behind the matrix of the reality, because with these points you get a very specific aesthetic, and it's a very new way of actually creating video for me as well, because you make the point cloud and then afterwards you can decide how you actually want to move through it. So you all of a sudden have all aesthetic freedom even afterwards to decide what I actually want to depict. So for me, this is a very new approach to thinking of video. When you shoot with a camera, the shot is set and it's done. But with this point cloud, you can still create it in the computer in hundreds of different ways.
Exactly, because you've got it there and you've got like the whole matter in your hands and you can do whatever you want. So I have to say that we are already looking forward to seeing you here for more of your residency, and we are obviously looking forward to seeing the results of that. So thank you very much for coming here. Thank you very much for sharing your visions and your time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for this conversation, and thank you for watching. See you next time.